We got some more folks joining us. So as you hop in, make sure you mute your microphone. You can have your camera on if you'd like. If not, no worries. We're going to talk about Wakelet. Make sure in the chat you drop your name in there as well as the school you're from. This is a great record to show that you participated, because I am recording the session and it will capture who participated in the session by you responding in the chat. So I'm going to talk about Wakelet and how you can use it to create differentiated lessons. Just a quick question. How many of you guys are familiar with Wakelet? Have heard of Wakelet? Never heard of it? Heard of it? Not sure. You can drop it in the chat. Raise your hand, say, yay, I've heard of it, never heard of it. Not sure, okay? Anybody else heard of Wakelet? Okay. So Wakelet is one of my new favorite things. And I'm gonna drop the address into the chat window so you guys can click along as I'm working on this as well, so you can create your account. So Wakelet was created as a content collection tool, bookmarking initially. So people would use it just to save their favorite websites and their favorite recipes or to plan for trips. And then they realized this would be great for educators. And so educators have gotten really crafty with this. So you're going to go ahead and sign up for free. I've already got an account. So if you guys want to click along with me as we're doing this, you can get your account set up. It's a couple of clicks, but you'll click sign up for free. And when you do that, of course, we always want to know that we want to click and sign up with our Google account. Continue with Google. I'm not going to do that. I've already got an account. But that way you have a single sign-on with your Google account. Also, there's this educator's guide right here, and I'm going to recommend that you can download it. It is in multiple languages, including English, so that you can see a little bit more information about it. So you can definitely come back and check that out. So I'm going to log in while you guys are signing up, hopefully. So I'm going to continue with Google, so it's single sign-on logins for me. So how many of you have heard of HyperDocs? I know I've done several trainings on HyperDocs and how you can create interactive self-paced lessons for students using Google Docs, including slides and docs and even sheets. And I love that concept. Pedagogically, that is a great concept in terms of differentiating our content for students. I fell in love with Wakelet and realized it would be a great option for creating. I figured it's a great way because it brings in the flexibility to share resources for multiple students on various levels. And I had the opportunity to write a blog for Wakelet about how you can use Wakelet for differentiation. So we're not going to run through all this, but I'm going to drop this link right here if you guys are curious and want to check it out. It's just kind of how I broke it down with how you can use it, using the concepts of HyperDocs, but using it with Wakelet. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm logged in. Give me a yes if you've got your Wakelet account created. And you don't have to make one right now, but it will be easier for you to click through while I'm talking about it so you can get comfortable with it. Yes, awesome. Thank you, Miss Alvison. So great to see that you're here. All right, so this is my dashboard. And as you can see, I have several, including a HyperDocs lesson. So for those of you that participated in my HyperDocs lesson, this is a HyperDocs lesson in Wakelet. Now, it is similar to Pinterest in the fact that you can follow people and have people follow you. You can make your Wakelets be private or shareable with a link, or you can make them public, which means, so like this one is locked down, not everybody can see it. This is hidden, and this one right here, what the world means, it's out there in the world, people can see it. So I'm going to open up this one. So going along with the idea of a HyperDoc and creating a lesson, and this is based on the 5E model. So the reason I like HyperDocs is that I can rearrange content. I can create a HyperDoc initially, because when we plan, we've got multi-level students, we're going to plan for the middle for our regular ed students that are on grade level. And then we're going to differentiate for those emerging learners. And then we're going to maybe differentiate higher to engage our gifted learners. This is a 5E model lesson. And you'll notice that I've got complete the self-paced lesson. So for my hook, for the engage, for the 5E model, you'll see I've got engage with HyperDocs, and I've got a video. So you can embed all sorts of different resources in there, and I'm going to walk you through what you can add. So then I have the next step of the 5E model of the lesson is to explore. So now we're going to dive a little bit deeper. Then I'm going to go into explain. So now we've leveled up our lesson, and then we're going to go to apply. So now the students have to do something. So it's got links all in here for what you have to do. Then we have the reflect and share. So tell me what you learned. We're going to assess their learning, and then we're going to have a response and reflection, like how did it go with the lesson, and then also extend any resources, any more resources you might want to share. So this is, as you can see, what do you think? That's a self-paced lesson right there. Students can make their way through it. It's got the videos embedded. It's got a slide deck included. It's got links to resources outside of Wakelet. All of that is there. So this is an engaging way to package a lesson for students. What do we think? So far, so good? Do you think this would be something that would be beneficial for you to use with your students? And I'm just checking the chat here, watching who we got here. What do we think? Yes. All right. Awesome. So for and I see Miss Naoma's on here. So she's math. So she can push out links to different resources for math. And I've got my ELA folks and my social studies folks on here. This is great for differentiating content. You can pull stuff and do a unit plan this way as well. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through how we create a collection. So I'm going to go here and say, create a new collection. So I can add my cover image art. I can upload my own images, which I like to do that, and I have a template for that. So I'll share that with you guys if you're interested. But if not, you can just choose from the library for right now. So I'm just going to type in tech and see what I get. And it's going to pull pictures from Unsplash, so they're appropriate. I just kind of like that one right there. That's kind of cool. Or wait, I like that Earth one, the NASA one. So I'm just going to pick an image. You can always go back and change it if you want. So I've got my image, and I can make it be a full or half cover, depending on the way you want it, or I can hide it. So I'm just 2 halves, so that's a little bit smaller. So now I'm going to give my collection a title. So this is my distance learning plan. And I apologize in advance. I am not adept at typing. So I can write a description. This is our classes unit plan for, we're going to say this is Earth Science. I picked the NASA. Okay. So I can put in that text and I can give it a title. So now this is where it's very, very powerful to use. I'm going to hit this plus. I'm going to move me out of the way right here. There we go. So I can paste a URL from anywhere in the web, anywhere. So a time.com article, a link to a Kahoot assignment. I can put a link to, if you got an online textbook assignment that you want them to work on, anything can go there. So for me, I'm just going to grab a link right here. And I'm going to copy it over here. Paste it. Now, this is why I like it, which is different than in a Google Doc. Now you have like a hover preview in a Google Docs, but it's hard to know what the kids are clicking on and where they're going. Here, notice it's giving me a preview of the site that I'm going to go to. To me, that makes it more visually interesting, and it makes it easier for kids to know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Now, the other elements I can include are plus, I can do text. So if I can want to say step 1, I can bold, I can italicize, I can underline, I can make them be headlines so it stands out, okay? And I can make it a bulleted list if I want to. The other important thing is that I can hyperlink to other things. So in my instructions, like the one I showed you where there was a response piece, I can go in and I can put a hyperlink to what other resource I want. So in this case, hyperlink it to a Google Doc. I might hyperlink it to Google Present. The benefit of that is here's your guide, your step-by-step instructions. Okay? So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go grab text here. Let's see here. I'm going to grab it off of time.com. It's going to be something about schools being closed. Panic mode. Here we are. So I'm going to open this. I'm just going to grab that first couple paragraphs, and I'm going to add text again. If I want to format it, I'm just going to copy and paste that text in and save it. Okay. So I can copy and paste any instructions I already have, any questions I already have in another document and post them in here. Okay. So the next thing is I can add other elements. I can add anything from YouTube. Now I know that YouTube can be kind of problematic in the sense that we don't know if YouTube is open for all of our students, and they might have access on their own personal devices and not their district distributed devices. So you could use YouTube. If not, we'll talk about other options for video links. You can put in tweets because, again, this was geared towards social media, stuff like that. You can also add in any bookmarks. So if you've saved a site that you want the kids to go to, you can go and pull it from your bookmarks. I can upload an image. So this comes in handy if I want to put up a graphic organizer for them to reference. If I want to put in an image, so maybe it's a map, maybe it's an example problem, I can do that. I can also embed any PDF document that I have that's locally on my drive. I can embed anything that's in my Google Drive or anything that's in my OneDrive. So if you're using Google Drive, that's how you can put a video you recorded that's not on YouTube, kind of video sites, you can paste the links here. So Drive and OneDrive, anything that's in my drive, I can make accessible. And the last part is it also has Flipgrid. So because there's Flipgrid in there, I can make this even more of an interactive lesson. All of that is great, but here's where the power comes in and why I think it's pretty fantastic. As I'm ordering this, I can literally go up here and I can move that to the top so I can rearrange easily. A little more easy than on a Google Doc where you got to copy and paste and so forth. So I can rearrange, move it up to the bottom, just move it one section at a time. I can choose to go to easy reorder, which is now it's even compacted, so I can drag it up and down. I can change the view that is accessible, media view, compact view if I don't want less to show. I can do a grid view, which means it's kind of like, this is really good for like a choose your own adventure or a choice board. I can also go to a mood board. That's another option. I personally like the compact view because it condenses the media piece. They can still hover over it, see it. But now I've got it as a linear lesson. So step 1, step 2, and so forth. So obviously I've got step 1 here. I'm going to move that up to the top. So now that's going to be step 1, read the article. Now what I want to do is I want to look at my options. I can choose to enable copying, which means I've created this and I'm going to share it with the world. And I'm okay with people copying it. If you don't want people to copy your work, you don't have to turn it on. Now I'm in private mode, which means it's locked. Only I can see it, but I can also choose to unlist it. So you guys might choose to create something and share it with your teammate, but you don't want to share it outside of the district and you want to just share it with your students. So unlisted means anyone with the link can access it. Now then publicly means it can be searchable. And the advantage of that is if it's searchable, somebody might, I'm going to show you how we can search for some ones that are ready to go now. So I'm going to go ahead and I can make this public and then I'm going to publish and exit. Questions so far, and if I'm going too fast, let me know. It's really hard when I'm talking to a screen and I'm like, are they catching it or am I going too quick? So let me know. Hit me up in the chat or turn on your mic and say, hey, slow down or show me that again. Okay. So here I am in it. Now, this is what's great. So I know I've done some training with the schools on using Microsoft tools and Immersive Reader. This is why I like Wakelet. Immersive Reader is built in. Okay. So anywhere you see text that I've inserted, I get my little page with the microphone on there. So that I copied those 3 paragraphs. Here it is. I can go right here, click on that, and it's going to bring up Immersive Reader for me. And if you're not familiar with Immersive Reader, this is magic. So I'm going to walk through real quick Immersive Reader, how it works. So notice it pulled up my text. I can play it.
U.S. markets plunged Monday as investors fled risky assets.
So it's going to read aloud for students. So this makes this content even more accessible. So for our struggling or emerging readers, you can share that with them. If our language learners need a little extra support, they can play it. I can go in here and I can change the settings, male or female voice. I can slow it down or I can speed it up if I want.
Assets amid the mounting economic toll of the coronavirus.
So think about it. I'm sure you have at least one student that this would be beneficial for. So now I'm going to go over here to the grammar options. Now I can turn on, I got to move myself all around here. So I can turn on parts of speech and syllables. This is something that each of your students will turn on themselves. You don't set it up, but for our language learners, this is great. As a former ELA teacher, I think that is super cool. Okay. I'm also going to go here to the text size. I can increase and reduce the text size. I'm going to increase, I've got increased spacing. That's traditional spacing. But if I'm a dyslexic reader, I see a question. How can students access the document on Google Classroom? I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Great question. All right. I'm going to walk through this and I'm going to show you how we share it to Google Classroom. Great question. So I can go in here and I can change the fonts and change that out. If I have a visual disability and I might need to have contrasting colors, I can change that. So this makes it easier for me to read. So a student sets this up once when they go in, and then next time they click on that icon in Wakelet, it's going to work for them. The last part is that I have reading preferences. So if I'm an emerging reader, I might choose it to only be 1 row at a time for my instructions because it's overwhelming for me to see a bunch of text. I can choose it to 3, or I can show the whole page. I can also go in and translate this. So this is great if we have students that just happen to have moved here from another country and they might speak German and they moved here from Germany. I can turn that on and let me see here. I'm going to say do the whole document. There we go. So as you can see, it converted it and it will also read it aloud in that other language. So now we've made our content.
Die US-Märkte stürzten am Montag ab, als Investoren inmitten der wachsenden Wirtschaft.
So as you can see, it's made this completely accessible for any student in any language. So that's Immersive Reader, and that's why I love that it's built in. So Ms. Salveson had a great question about how do I share this? Great question. So up here at the top is where you can add a contributor. So if I wanted to add Ms. Salveson on here and I could say, hey, here's the link so she can join it and she could add to it. She could also copy that code, or I could email it to her and say, hey, I started on this collection, add to it. So she and Mr. Herrera collaborate a lot on what they're doing for their AP seminar classes. they can build out a collection and work on it, and share it. Then I'm going to go to the share button. Notice what I have here is I have the ability to copy this link or push it directly to Google Classroom. So again, that was when I went to share. Google Classroom is an option. If I do that, it's going to pull up my Google Classrooms and it's going to pull up my class. So if I want to push this out to Bunch, I'm going to say pick Bunch and I'm going to say create an assignment, click go. Now we know that you teach more than one class. This is the important thing. Once this populates, I'm going to give it a title and I'm going to say that this is our unit resource. Okay. I've got Bunch tagged over here, but if I hit the drop down, I can actually push this out to all of my classes simultaneously. So once I've created that resource, I can push it out to all. Now, if I've created this resource and it's specifically for my emerging learners or my gifted learners, I could choose to drill down and push it to particular students. Did Miss Allison, did that answer that question about how you push it out? So again, I could also just copy this link to share it as well. If you've already got an assignment and you just want to add it to an existing assignment in Google Classroom. Other features and other ways you can use this is that I can go here and I can embed it. So if you have a website, you can embed a Wakelet into your website so people can see it. I can do a PDF export, which means that I can print this and now it becomes a digital document. An advantage to that is maybe you want to PDF export it and then have the students annotate over it. Okay. So those are all the ways that you can share it. So the other thing I want to show you is that you can search. So why reinvent the wheel if we can find some things? So I know that there was a bunch of awesome collections on civil rights movement. As this becomes a more popular platform, more and more people are adding stuff to it. So I can go through and I can see, all right, so on civil rights, this one right here, I can see who the person is and I can say this one's on civil rights. I can scroll through, see if I want it. Notice I can choose to follow the person, again, kind of like Pinterest. I can save a collection. Okay, I can choose to embed it. Now, if I save it, then you should be able to make a copy of it if they allow that copying to be made. So you can go through and search on topics. So quite frankly, what's been a very popular topic, let's go back to search. Let's go to distance learning. Right now, people are using Wakelet to collect all the different tools that you can use for distance learning. Distance learning resources. Right now, I know that there were, so resources for distance learning, teachers using distance. So these are all new ones. And you can take a look at these collections, okay? So you can go to the Explorer and see what are the most popular ones that are available right now. But I think the best thing to do is you can go ahead and create your own template and then add resources to it. So I do want to show you, if I go back to my home page here, is that I can follow people and I have some followers and I can have some collections. So if I go to mine, I've got different AR, VR, I've got ELA stuff. Those are available. So you can follow me and see which ones I have that are made public. So the other thing is I can show who I'm following. You can follow organizations and companies. Ed tech companies have stuff, and you can follow other people. So I follow this educator right here, Erin, has a wealth of ready-made templates. She's got newsletter templates, meet the teacher activities, and she's got hers set up that you can just copy them. This is the other thing that I like about Wakelet is that in the text, I can choose to use, you can copy any template that people have out there that's accessible, and you can see, include emojis for bullet points to kind of help make it more visual in terms of what your Wakelet looks like. So I'm going to go back to mine. I did one, let's see here. There was the HyperDocs one. Any questions as I'm rolling through here? Are you guys seeing that this could be a benefit for you guys to be able to quickly grab and put a bunch of resources together for your students? I love Google Classroom. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of training on Google Classroom. I use it for training with teachers. The thing is that when you put out an assignment in Google Classroom, you can put things in an order, but that does not mean that the kids are going to click on the order of the assignments or the resources you want them to look at. This right here allows you to say, here's the first resource, here's the second, here's the third, and post it into your Google Classroom. So as you can see, I included emojis to make it stand out for each of my steps. All right, any questions, thoughts, comments, feedback? Are you thinking how you could use this with your kids? I just think that Wakelet's a great way for you to gather resources, share it out to your students, and the fact that it has that immersive reader feature built in is a game changer for me. You like it? All right, awesome. I mean, that was like the real quick just overview of how you get started with it and some ideas of how you could use it. I also am having open office hours, so if you have any questions on this or anything else that you need help with as we figure out how this distance learning day is going to go, these next few Weeks are going to be interesting. I know it's a learning curve for all of us. I know that the kids were offline today, but they'll be on tomorrow. And I know you guys are trying to figure out the best way to push out content and resources and keep them engaged for however long we're going to need that. Great. I'm glad you think it'll be helpful. I think it's a great tool. I mean, if anything, it can be a great way for you to coordinate with Herrera to plan, resources that you guys want to use. Just to give you all a heads up, and I sent this link to everybody. This is my resources for distance learning page. This is my calendar, which is just for distance learning days. So as you can see, we had Wakelet here. I'm wrapping up a little bit early, but that's fine. I have office hours until 4:30. Tomorrow, I've got a training on Screencastify for Flip lessons. I've got another training on Flipgrid. And then I'll have open office hours. So each day I'm doing 2 trainings a day to just to provide you guys some tips and resources and help. And then the rest of the time I'll be online. It'll be like you guys stopping by either the teacher workroom or the media center to say, hey, I got a question. I am here. You can also shoot me an email if you have any questions. If you think about it when it's not office hours and you want to send me a quick email, be like, oh, how do I do this? And we can chat about it. During school hours, I'll be taking a look at emails. The email is blowing up. I am available, and I know that again, this is a learning curve for all of us, but we're gonna figure it out. And just know that I am just a email or phone call away if you have any questions. Okay, if you need anything. I appreciate your time. Hope you found this session beneficial, and let me know if you need anything else.